beep, grand whatever please beans, party people and they mamas. I don't really know what angle you guys are seeing, but this is going to be the angle. Here I am in Birmingham, Alabama. I really wanted to be shooting in Atlanta, Georgia, but it's neither here nor there. This is May 11th, and we're posting on May 11th, 2026. We're talking about water. This week's episode is called Water. Water. What a wonderful conversation. What a wonderful topic that we have to speak on. First and foremost, I want to thank Otai, Anthony, again, for being my friend and being on the podcast, being a guest, being such a spectacular writer, and has written about my articles, written articles about my podcast for the last 48 weeks, and it's gonna be 49. And without you, I would not be here. Without water, we would not be here. And without water, we wouldn't have any of our podcast guests. That being said, without water, we wouldn't have life. So thank you, life, for giving us this opportunity. Otai said something beautiful, I think is on the podcast, but he mentioned, what was it? He mentioned if there's, and maybe it wasn't on the podcast actually, because we were having a wonderful conversation outside the podcast as well, and he and I actually spoke about that post-podcast, about how like our conversation could have been recorded as well, and honestly that would have been just as beautiful, if not more beautiful. The things that we said off camera were spectacular. Like, if there's nothing that I'm grateful to be about, you know, like any day, any particular day, I will be grateful about waking up, about being alive, and that is the reminder of water also. And I wanted to preface everything that we're talking about today with that. Also, I don't know how long I'm allowed to have this video be, because I don't remember deleting my storage, but it's fine. We'll do our best, because I have quite a lot to say about this, honestly. Water should be free. We shouldn't have to fight about it. We shouldn't have to pay for it. We shouldn't have to have areas where we don't have clean water. It's not even a conversation. It should be a basic human right. And it really frustrates me that I'm even here on the podcast today talking about this. This is, again, the heart of why I made this podcast, why I made this show, why I bring guests, we uplift others. The next thing I want to say is that water is a basic necessity. We shouldn't have to pay to be alive. That's literally, like, water should be free. It is, again, not only just a human right. Like, the UN had, I think, water as, or maybe they didn't get to it, but water and food and shelter and clothing, you know, should be a basic human right. And, you know, it should also be alright, I guess, if people don't want those things. Like, if they don't want water to be clean, they don't want their own water to be clean, that's fine. But that doesn't mean other people's water shouldn't be clean, you know, like, none of us asked to be here. So, yeah, it's just, like, incredibly frustrating, especially as a Houstonian, maybe not a native Houstonian. I got transplanted when I was like 11, and I came from Chicago, although I was born in Los Angeles, and now here you are seeing me in Alabama, and earlier I was in Georgia. We have nuclear waste going through our pipes in Houston, Texas. I think this is all of Texas, but actually I think it's all of America, but it just runs up into Texas, specifically Houston, which is why we have cancer clusters in places like Sunnyside and 5th Ward, 2nd Ward, I think, as well. And it's important to talk about because we have households that can't even get clean water, and, you know, they're bathing, they're drinking water, and they're using their Brita filter, they're doing the best that they can, and at the end of the day, they still can't pay their electricity bills, they can't send their kids to school, they go to their families' houses, and all of them are also dying of cancer. Why is this? It's because of the water. And yeah, they can't afford to pay for bottled water all the time. That's like how we get to those points, you know. There's parts of Houston that are living like a third world country, and we luckily, wonderfully have things like community gardens. And I also want to speak on that because community event centers, community areas, they create spaces where people can receive clean water. But, you know, then you have like potable water and non-potable water, and even the potable water can be filled with this nuclear waste that's going through our pipes for some reason. And, you know, every single time that I talk about this, I feel like I'm talking about a conspiracy theory. And, you know, I was on like a little group chat with a couple of very important people in Texas, And they were the ones that informed me on this. And you know, you can find the research about the cancer clusters, and when I mention this to anyone, they find it incredibly confusing. They're like, how and why are we not talking about this? You know, I'm wondering the same exact thing. That's why I keep talking about it. And why do we have the best cancer research in Houston? Why do we have the best medicine in Texas? It's because we have the most sick people. We have the most capacity to achieve knowledge, research on patients with cancer, you know, unfortunately using them as our guinea pigs. New research, new medicine. Fuck. I'm literally, I have a sad face written next to that, because what can I say? All I can say is that I want things to get better. I feel like this is going to be a short episode because I'm having a hard day, and it's like 9:30 p.m. and I just need to post this. You know, I need to post this before Monday is over, and I think like Monday is going to be over in some parts of the world. I think it's already over in some parts of the world, right? Flint, Michigan, let's talk about that. Flint, Michigan has not had clean water. I think we're still in the points of time, the portion of reality where Flint, Michigan still doesn't have water, and how Detroit also is really struggling with clean water. Again, we have cancer clusters in Houston. We have issues in all parts of the world. I'm sure Atlanta also has water problems. Our infrastructure is dying, and we just live under this 227? I don't know how long it's been since our United States has been together, but our empire, quote unquote, is not that beautiful. You know, it's just abusive and terrible, and we want to help Flint, Michigan. I'm going to say this till I die. How many times do we have to say this? Jaden Smith, thank you so much. Will Smith's son, please continue doing what you're doing, because providing water to homeless people, providing free meals to homeless people, and providing water to Flint, Michigan is incredible work. We need more people like you, and we need more rich people like you. And if I had $1 billion, by the way, which is one of my questions, you know, I guess I'm asking myself, if I was on an interview hosting myself as a guest, I guess with $1 billion, I would get houses in all of the major locations of the world: Los Angeles, New York, Houston, Phoenix, you can keep going, I don't care, Miami. We will talk about all the cities that need water: Detroit, Flint. I'll get a house there, and I will put water in the house for people to reach. And this will be in the richest parts of town where also homeless people are, because, you know, these are the same parts of the cities. Anyway, third world countries, let's talk about that. Third world countries are basically the same as America these days. And, you know, that sucks to say. Like, yeah, we have electricity, and yeah, we have infrastructure, like public plumbing. But again, third world countries also have public plumbing and technology these days. And you know what else? They also have water bottles for when their water is running out. And honestly, unfortunately, some of these people in other countries live better than the homeless people in these countries. Like, the homeless people in other countries are living better because their countries sanction them with like food and money. And maybe not all countries do this, or maybe like none of the countries do this, I don't know, but the UN should implement this. And Cuba has wonderful doctors also. I think we're very close to Cuba from Houston, so I don't know, just many thoughts, many things to put out into the world, that we're kind of like a third world country, and we need to change that, at least in the sense of like our water infrastructure. Like, we need cleaner water systems, we need to stop polluting our water systems, we need to stop littering in general, and I wanted to talk about watersheds and protection, because my friend Joaquina, you guys know Joaquina, is a part of Watershed in the Austin government, and I just think that Austin does a great job with the watershed programs. And I don't see, maybe I'm not paying attention, but I think watershed programs should be like as open or honest or intense, I don't know, like obvious maybe, as Austin's is. Like, I feel like everywhere you go there's a sign that's like, okay, this is the watershed, this is the watershed, this is that. Now like a water holder, you know, one of those big ones that are in the neighborhood, or like the big tall ones that you see that says watershed. And you know, it's like multiple different watersheds, like Onion Creek, or like, you know, Austin, stuff like that, Colorado River. So yeah, we need more watersheds, and we need to protect our water more. And I wanted to talk about AI data centers and droughts, because AI data centers that have been coming up in Texas especially have been causing Texas cities like Corpus Christi to lose water to the point where their population is running out of water. We don't need another Flint, Michigan, come on. I have so much to talk about that. And now the next thing I wrote is our infrastructures. That's literally insane because, come on, how is it that is the last thing that I'm talking about, but this is like the continuous conversation. Like, we need high-speed rails, we need train systems. Like, there should be a train that goes from Atlanta to Houston. What do you mean that Atlanta to Houston has 3 flights that take off every single hour to each city? Maybe like more times than that in each hour. We are not prepared for the weather. We can have snow or hail or hurricanes anywhere in the country at this point. Tornadoes too, piping and plumbing problems, roads, with potholes, our houses, we continuously have to remodel them, but again, we don't provide for people to be able to remodel them. We keep people out of their homes. We just want people to live. We have floods also that we need to prevent people from, and then we give them flood insurance, but then we're like, oh, you have to get flood insurance and house insurance, but it's like both of them are just as expensive as your rent, and you need to make 3 times your rent. So yeah, like, you can make 3 times your rent, but what if like you only make 3 times your rent? So then there's your rent, there's your renter's insurance, and then there's your housing insurance, and then you have no money at the end of the day. And I know those aren't like legitimate, realistic numbers that we're working with, but this has been a very depressing episode, and I just wanted to talk about water. And there's so many things that we want to talk about, right? Like mental health and stability and financial independence. I don't know. We want to talk about Texas, and we want to talk about the world, and we want to talk about music, and we want to talk about articles and writers, and we want to talk about time and space and planets and everything in between, and education. So we'll keep talking. And thank you guys as always for being here. I've again had a hard day, so the fact that I'm able to come here with this energy, I'm feeling grateful for, because again, like, this podcast continues to be a safe space, and I like using this safe space to talk about things that are important to all of us in this community. These artists, these community members, these community builders. It's been a string of hard days, I won't lie. Anyway, thank you guys for being the safe space for me. Until next time, I guess. You guys know what I'm about to say. Much love. Take care of yourself. Thank you for, again, taking care of me by being a part of this podcast and listening. Getting this far. Drink your water. Get other people to drink their water. Make art. Read a book. Watch some TV. Love yourself and love everyone around you. And with that, I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.